If it wasn't obvious already, one thing that the self-help industry is acutely aware of is just how much people are dependent on motivation. Between the motivational speeches and content you can find online to some of the big name gurus and hype bros to pump you up, motivation is a core pillar to self-help gurus. But every time I look at their strategies, the more lackluster they seem to be. For sure, the best can get people excited in that moment, but we have a natural tendency to slip back into our usual routines, then use motivation for anything. I mean, just look at how New Year's resolutions often play out for us.
Today I don't feel like doing anything.
So as this is the last long-form video that I'll be recording for this year, I want to share some daily motivation techniques that go beyond the other motivational videos that I have done so far. While I still recommend watching those videos, as those will help with overall long-term motivation, these ones will focus on the more immediate, and they can still be very helpful for your long-term motivation too. Regardless, there's not going to be any hype, there's no hustle culture bullshit, just my own strategies that have helped me through so much and got me to where I am right now. One of the things I find with self-help gurus is how vague they can be when presenting ideas and getting people excited about their goals. On one end, I totally get it. They don't really know you, and so they can't really go into specifics on your own goals, just like myself.
I don't know. I never thought I'd get this far.
It's easier to present a more broad and extravagant life and goals and push that idea than to go after your own specific desires. But just because they're selling that dream life and selling it to you very hard doesn't mean that you have to be buying into it. Similarly, you don't have to stick to just the vague concepts that they're delivering or the vague vibes that they're dishing out when you're looking for your own motivation and trying to motivate yourself. It pays to take gurus' ideas and make them more personable and appropriate for you in your own life. After all, not everyone wants a fleet of big boats and a home with 24 rooms that they don't really use. In the case of motivation, preparing yourself with specific goals, why you want to achieve them, and even how you plan to achieve them with specific actions can really help with your motivation actually working with you. How you prepare those things, it's really up to you, as there's no perfect method here. I have a to-do list, but others can recommend vision boards, journaling, or putting their goals on a notes app, for example. Whatever medium works for you. But the key here is be as specific and minimalist as you possibly can. 3 items overall is a pretty good balance, and it's so much easier to focus on rather than listing off 5 or 7 or even more than that. Another thing to keep in mind about our motivation is that there is an ebb and a flow to it. You're not always going to be 100% motivated all day long with these techniques, and you should not be expecting yourself to be at that level all the time. We're going to have some days where motivation is going to be down or going to be lower than usual for one reason or another, and that's all okay. The key with daily and consistent motivation is that during these times, you show yourself more understanding and empathy during that time than anything else. This allows you to bounce back so much faster and perhaps even find that motivation later on that day, if not tomorrow. What this looks like in practice is really just self-care. It's taking a break and indulging in something nice. It's taking the weekend off and not focusing on work, or just leaving work behind in the office and creating that barrier between your work and your own life. I know I brought this up in my unconventional motivation video, but it is worth stressing once again. Be around those who are motivated. Who you associate with and spend time with affects so many aspects of our lives, and that includes your own motivation. If you spend time around people who are creating things and are motivated on a regular basis, chances are likely that you're going to be in the same camp too. And if you're not, then that group is going to create more incentive for you to do so. The reason being is that it raises your own standards for yourself. It creates an accountability system of sorts, but between you and yourself. Beyond that, it can be easier to reinforce habits as well, since people will naturally give a damn about you, just as you will start caring about others and the projects and work that they are doing as well, and you will find inspiration from that as well. It's really just one big cycle that is a benefit to you and to everyone else around you. It also helps overall to just generally take better care of yourself. We're humans and we need water and food, so making sure we're hydrated and well fed is just a good idea. Ideally, the food that you are eating is actually good for you too, and that you're eating it at a semi-slow pace. Your meal should generally take you about 10 to 15 minutes to eat completely. You don't need to go with purely organic food for the most healthy benefit, but learning how cooking with decent ingredients is a good idea.
Eat your vegetables.
This ultimately blends more into the whole self-compassion stuff that I just talked about, where if you take better care of yourself physically and mentally, you'll find it just so much easier to get into a workflow, find your motivation, and do whatever it is that you want to be doing. While I'm not too big into setting data points and getting all analytical over our own behaviors, there is a case broadly to be tracking your own goals.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Visualizing how close you are to certain targets, to chunking the goal into a more manageable target to hit over the course of a week can be motivating in its own way. After all, it's easier to tell yourself to write a few articles this week than it is to, say, write 10 to 15 articles over the course of a month. Overall, smaller numbers just make it so much easier for our brains to process and understand and find more motivation and convince ourselves to do that stuff. So long as the goal itself is very challenging and engaging with you, then it's a really good dopamine hit for you that isn't going to create just this dopamine addiction. Gamification is another great incentive to incorporate into your own motivation strategy. While it can be very much carrot on a stick kind of mentality, we know video games have other incentives that keep it entertaining, and we can use those to our own advantage. Some good examples of gamification elements are streaks, seeing just how long you can keep something going before you break your streak. Or you could also use a grading system for you, where the grade is determined by how many things you accomplish off of your to-do list, for example. Even the aforementioned carrot on a stick can be used in multiple different ways here. We can use it as that incentive for a reward later on if we accomplish our goal, or we could also use it as a means of avoiding something detrimental to ourselves. A common example is telling your friend you'll give them $100 if you don't accomplish your goal this week or this month. Whatever it is that you want to be doing, incorporating some game type of elements into your own hustle and motivation can add just another fun layer and challenge to you and serve as just another incentive for yourself to keep it up and to build up that momentum and motivation. Beyond that, even if you do end up failing at some point in time, these elements can also just serve as a reminder to keep at it again and that you can go further, or try to go further. After all, video games are very much like that, even though they can certainly be frustrating at times.
How long do you want to stick around and ruin my life? No!
One other strategy that I hear a lot about is to set yourself an MIT, otherwise known as Most Important Task. The sentiment is that if you tackle this particular task first, before anything else, you're going to have a better day as the biggest worry or stressor is just done. It's out of the way. You don't have to worry about it. And while the strategy is pretty good, and I won't be arguing about the science about it, there is a case to be made for doing a little bit of the reverse. And it all begins with setting something small and simple as your first task to accomplish that day. And what I mean by small and simple, it's something that's perhaps a little more intensive than something that doesn't require a whole lot of brain power and that you can accomplish in 5 minutes. Try to do something a little more intensive than that, but still kind of significant for you. The idea with doing that first is that you're building momentum and you're being a little bit more gentle with yourself. Sure, some people can argue that setting all of these small little tasks will just drain your motivation and your energy by the time that you reach that big important task that you are trying to accomplish. But to that I ask just one thing. Who said that you need to be going that far or need to be setting so many of those tasks in the first place? Sometimes all that you really need is just a few little tasks to get that momentum going and get your head into the game. And even if you don't end up finishing that big important task, as it might take your entire rest of the day or afternoon or whatever, you still built up all that momentum. You still did something right. You did still accomplish something pretty significant to you and important to you. It's a similar idea to just making your bed at the first thing in the morning. Even if your entire day is a complete disaster, you at least have a nice, well-made bed to greet you when you get back. And sneaking that into building your own motivation is just a neat trick that could be very helpful for some people. Really, the big takeaway here is that motivation and being motivated isn't something that's in our genes and that some have more than others. It really boils down to just our strategies and understanding of ourselves here. As I keep stressing in these motivation videos, there is an ebb and flow to them, and knowing when you're motivated and when you're not is really key here. When it's flowing, use these strategies to stretch it out for as long as possible, or until you're satisfied with your output for that day. And when it's ebbing, give yourself the pause you need to look at your work and appreciate it. And give yourself some time to really reflect on it and to learn more about yourself. If you do those things, you'll find yourself more driven to do these things every single day as you build up the foundation and motivation that you need to do whatever you need to do. Thank you guys so much for watching the entirety of this video. I would really appreciate it if you left a like on this video and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I love you guys.